En Passant, directed by Atom Egoyan, and Atom is back with us. Welcome back, Atom. We also saw three of your earlier films, Open House, Peep Show, and Howard in particular. Many of them dealing with the difficulty of sort of life in the modern world, dealing with technology and communication, miscommunication, those kinds of things. Themes that you've developed in your features as well, and themes that are, to some people, classic Canadian kind of themes. I'm wondering, how much do you see yourself as a Canadian filmmaker, as someone who's working out things that other Canadians have explored before?
Well, I do think that, you know, there is definitely a body of work and a set of concerns that is quite particular to this place. And it comes from, you know, having our major cities like within 200 miles of, you know, this behemoth, you know, this culture that's based on, you know, the absolute celebration of media, and where we have to evaluate ourselves in the shadow of that all the time. You know, what is it that makes us what we are?
Did you grow up like that, watching American television, watching Hollywood movies, that kind of thing?
I was raised in Victoria, BC, and you know, I mean, completely under the spell of American culture, and yet, you know, knowing that there was this other culture, which is, you know, where I was, and also being from one of the regions, I suppose, right? Having this kind of view of Toronto as being this place where everything happened, and feeling on in the periphery of that, and the sense of distance, you know. And then my only real connection with Toronto was by media, and was by, you know, images of, you know, that I saw on television, and it's a very particular thing when you come from the West Coast as well. I mean, you know, it's kind of a cliche now to talk about the West kind of feeling of antipathy towards Central Canada, but it's very palpable, and it very much is, you know, you are seeing a place which is being celebrated by a media culture which exists there. So, like, you know, Toronto really does seem to be, or did seem to be, very Toronto-centric from a Western perspective, you know, when, you know, during those years. So I think that those are just issues. And also, but I think they're also personal issues, just in terms of, you know, having come from elsewhere, having, you know, this kind of, you know, store of images that I remember, like, my father having, you know, like all these home movies from Egypt, and, you know, and people asking me, well, what do you remember? And I don't know what I remember, and I don't know what I remember separate from what I remember him showing me.
So you saw yourself in your father's home movies in Egypt?
Yeah, for sure.
And those, in a way, were your memories, I bet.
And those are also my first memories, like people. So, and kind of trying to figure out what the distinction is. But I think that it's just, I mean, I just think we are living in a time where, you know, our sense of who we are and our whole sense of consciousness is, you know, clearly been affected by these technologies, you know, and the whole nature of a gaze, of someone, like, looking at you, what eye contact used to mean, you know, and now, you know, being subjected to, like, you know, thousands, countless faces looking at us all the time, you know, electronically, and what that, you know, what that means, how that's altered us. And on the one hand, you know, it seems to facilitate things, and it seems to give us the illusion that we're closer. But, you know, it just provokes all sorts of issues.
Let me ask you something else in that same turn. I remember interviewing you years and years ago, many years ago now, and you're saying that you didn't feel like you came out of the realist tradition of Canadian cinema, I mean, the documentary tradition, which is something that's been so strong here. Instead, you preferred to kind of create realities, or to do things that were a little more heightened or stylized.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the filmmakers that I really admired and modeled myself after at the beginning anyway were, like, more like the Michael Snows, I suppose, and the Bruce Elders, and, you know, and certainly, you know, like a film like Videodrome obviously had a huge effect on me, even though I wasn't sure at the time when I saw it what the effect was. I mean, I think that there's a you know, even though the first films I saw, like in Victoria, like my first contact to film culture was with the Regional National Film Board office. They had a library, and I remember going to, and taking out Nobody Wave Goodbye, the Don Owen movie, and, you know, taking home a 16mm projector, and that was like a big thing, and threading it up in our basement, and seeing my first Canadian feature, you know, like through this kind of now antiquated technology. But it was I had this real romance about it, though, the notion of projection and the idea of you know, because the camera, I mean, film images are just, like, so mesmerizing. There's something, you know, we immediately want to believe that what we're seeing is real, and the seductive quality of that combined with, I suppose, a self-consciousness. Like I love that feeling. Like when I watch movies, I love to feel self-conscious. I love to feel that somehow my authority or my position as a viewer is being challenged, and maybe that there's another discourse happening which has to relate to why I need to watch those images and what I'm expecting to see.
Do you encourage that in people watching your films as well, that sort of position of being self-conscious?
But to be entertained by that, not to be on guard necessarily, kind of let yourself kind of just to let yourself kind of get a little bit lost and kind of enjoy the mystification, you know. I mean, I think that I mean, I'm not trying to in any way suggest that, you know, one has to know at all times what is going on, but that if there's a trust in what I'm up to, because I do believe in telling stories. You know, I do believe that there are narratives at work, and that there are journeys and kind of you know, that the films to me are emotionally based, but they're very often about emotions that have been kind of like buttoned down and kind of suppressed, and that there's a reason why they have to be, why things have to explode at a certain point, you know.
Okay, well, that's probably a good place to wrap up right now. We're going to continue this during the week. Valerie will be here tomorrow night with Calendar, and also with Next of Kin, your very first feature film. Right after the break, we'll be showing Family Viewing. I want to thank you again for coming in and chatting. It's been great.
Thanks.
For the Showcase Review, I'm Cameron Bailey. We'll see you in a bit.